What baby name made you lose all respect for the parent who chose it? My sister was 19 when she had her daughter, and she was unconscious for the part where the name was decided. I have never had a problem with the name itself. It's a pretty name. Half the girls born that year had something like it. What I have a problem with is the spelling, and it took me 5 years to be able to explain why. Nadia met Roland when she was 18 and he was 33. He managed a building supply firm on the ring road, and he answered questions nobody had asked, telling you where he'd been before anyone wondered. Mom disliked him quietly. I disliked him loudly, which was a mistake because it gave Nadia something to defend. He was good with her when people were watching. He drove her to every scan. By the 8th month, she had stopped seeing anybody who wasn't him. The birth went wrong. Placental abruption at 36 weeks, emergency section, general anesthetic. Nadia went under at 12 minutes past 4 and didn't come back up until nearly 8. I was in the corridor for all of it. Roland wasn't. He was at the desk handling the paperwork, and I remember thinking that was decent of him. When they let me in, the baby already had a plastic bracelet on with a name printed on it. Nadia hadn't seen it yet. Roland stood by the window and watched her read it. She cried. She said it was beautiful and asked where he'd got it, and he said it had come to him during the surgery. It was the only sentimental thing I ever heard him say. Then a nurse came to reprint the bracelet because the first had smudged, and Roland corrected her spelling twice. Not once, twice. He spelled it out letter by letter, slowly, the way you do with a hotel booking, and then asked to check the new one before it went on her wrist. A man who'd had a name arrive in a vision was standing there at 8 in the morning making sure a nurse hadn't put a Y where the A and the I belonged. I let it go. Everybody did. My sister was alive, my niece was alive, and nobody wants to be the one auditing letters. For 3 years I was pleasant to him at Christmas. Then, the January my niece turned 4, Roland moved out and moved in with a woman from his office inside 6 weeks. Nadia was told it was recent. She believed it because believing it hurt less. I didn't say anything to her. I went looking instead. His firm still had a staff page on their website, the kind nobody updates after it's built, with a group photo taken outside the yard. Second from the left, in the row behind him, was the office manager, with her name printed underneath. I read it 4 times. It was my niece's name. The same name, letter for letter, including the letter he had corrected the nurse about. I want to be careful here. I have never been angry at my niece for the sound of her own name, and I have never blamed the woman in that photograph, who had no idea what he'd done with it. What I did instead was start writing things down. The hospital keeps a visitor log for the maternity ward. Nadia requested it. It took 11 days. Delane signed in at 6:41 that morning, an hour and 19 minutes before my sister woke up. He took her to meet the baby first. The birth was registered at 20 past 9, one signature on the form, while Nadia was under morphine and had not been shown a single piece of paper. Nobody at the registry office asked whether the mother had agreed to the name, because nobody there is required to ask. That is the part I still cannot get past. Nadia filed to change it in March. It went through in the 2nd week of May. 3 weeks later, Roland threw my niece a 5th birthday party at his new house, with Delane handing around paper plates and 20 of us in the garden. He does a toast every year, always the same one, about the name arriving to him during the surgery. When he got to that part, I stood up and asked Delane if she'd mind spelling her name for the room. She looked confused, but she's polite, so she did it. Letter by letter, slowly. Nobody moved. Then I asked Roland to spell his daughter's, and he didn't. His mother said it out loud without thinking, and then stopped halfway. I passed the visitor log around. It went from hand to hand and came back face down. Delane read it standing up, put her plate on the table, and went inside for her keys. Then Nadia took the court order out of her bag, put it in his hand, and told him he'd been toasting a name that stopped existing 3 weeks ago. He looked at it for a long time. "It's a name," he said. "It's a sound. You've made a scene out of nothing." "It's a receipt," I said. She stopped carrying it in May.